Did you know that intimacy after 60 is often reported as more fulfilling than at any other stage of life? For many, that sounds surprising because society has long painted a picture that love and passion belong only to the young. But here's the truth. Once you cross 60, the rules of love change, and what you were told in your 30s or 40s doesn't apply anymore. Think about it. By now, you've lived, you've loved, you've faced loss, and you've learned what really matters. At this stage, love isn't about proving yourself. It's about presence, companionship, laughter, and touch that feels more meaningful than ever. Intimacy is no longer rushed or pressured. It's about savoring moments, enjoying closeness, and redefining what passion means on your terms. And here's the part nobody talks about. This season of life can bring new confidence. When you strip away the myths that aging makes you too old for romance, you unlock a freedom to explore love in ways you never allowed yourself before. Many seniors say they feel more alive, more connected, and yes, even more desired than they did decades ago. So let me ask you, are you ready to embrace this new chapter of love, to see intimacy not as something behind you but as something that can be richer than ever? If you are, hit that like button right now so more seniors can discover this truth. Because today, we're going to uncover how relationships and intimacy after 60 are not only possible, but powerful. Meet Elowen. At 67, she's a retired teacher from Ohio who spent most of her adult life caring for others. For years, she balanced lesson plans, PTA meetings, and family dinners, the kind of steady rhythm that makes decades slip by almost unnoticed. But when her husband passed away after a long marriage, everything stopped. The structure she had known for so long crumbled, leaving her with a quiet house and a heart that felt both heavy and uncertain. At first, Elowen told herself that love was a closed chapter. After all, wasn't romance supposed to belong to the young? She looked in the mirror and noticed the silver streaks in her hair, the lines around her eyes, the softer curve of her body. Am I too old for love? Will intimacy ever feel the same? She wondered. For a while, she convinced herself the answer was yes, that maybe it was safer to stay alone than risk rejection, disappointment, or the awkwardness of starting over. But something inside her resisted that narrative. Despite the grief and self-doubt, there was still a longing, not just for company at the dinner table, but for the warmth of touch, the spark of conversation, and the comfort of having someone who truly sees you. It wasn't about chasing the kind of whirlwind passion she had in her 20s. It was about craving a deeper connection, one that grows out of shared life experience, patience, humor, and acceptance. And here's where Elowen's story becomes so relatable. Millions of seniors across America carry the same quiet questions. Some are widowed, others divorced, and many simply never expected to be single at this stage of life. Yet they wonder, is it selfish to want more? Will anyone want me at this age? These doubts rarely get voiced, but they are deeply real, and they can keep people from even exploring the possibility of love. What Elowen eventually discovered is that love after 60 isn't about recreating the past. It's about rewriting it. It's about allowing yourself to be vulnerable again, not because you're clinging to youth, but because you finally understand what truly matters in intimacy. Kindness, laughter, trust, and presence. For Elowen, the turning point came when she realized that her age wasn't a barrier. It was her superpower. She had lived enough to know what she wanted, and enough to no longer settle for less. Her journey mirrors a truth that many seniors need to hear. Wanting love after 60 doesn't make you naive, desperate, or unrealistic. Makes you human. And sometimes, the most courageous act is admitting that your heart still has room to grow. Elowen's story is just the beginning of this new chapter. A reminder that romance is not behind us after 60, but waiting patiently to be rediscovered. For years, society has pushed the idea that aging means slowing down in every sense, including romance and intimacy. But here's a truth that often surprises people. Many seniors actually report higher satisfaction in their intimate lives after 60 than they ever did in their younger years. Why? 'Cause the focus shifts. The pressure to perform, to impress, or to keep up fades away, and in its place comes something richer. Connection, presence, and intimacy that feels authentic. Think about it. In your 20s, 30s, even 40s, intimacy often came with a long list of expectations. About appearances, about stamina, about proving yourself in some way. But after 60, you realize that intimacy isn't about racing hearts. It's about steady hands and deeper bonds. It's not about living up to someone else's standard. It's about creating your own. For many, this stage of life finally brings the freedom to slow down, not in passion but in pace. You savor touch, enjoy laughter, and cherish conversations in a way that felt rushed decades ago. Take Elowen, for example. When she finally stepped into the idea of dating again, she worried she couldn't keep up. But what she discovered surprised her. Her new partner wasn't looking for fireworks every night. He was looking for closeness, for companionship, for moments that felt safe and deeply genuine. Instead of worrying about appearances or performance, Elowen found herself more present, more relaxed, and ironically, more fulfilled than she had been in years. This is the heart of the myth we're breaking. Love and intimacy don't fade after 60. They mature. They trade urgency for depth, insecurity for confidence, and surface-level attraction for something far more meaningful. It's a chapter where humor, patience, and emotional closeness matter more than physical perfection. And the beauty is, once you embrace that shift, you may find yourself enjoying intimacy more than ever before. So let me ask you, have you noticed intimacy feels different now than it did in your younger years? Maybe it's slower but richer. Maybe it's quieter but more profound. Share your story in the comments, because your experience might give someone else the courage to believe that love and closeness after 60 is not only possible, but more rewarding than ever. One of the most overlooked truths about love after 60 is that it doesn't just make you feel good emotionally, it can literally transform your health. Research from leading universities in the US has shown that seniors in loving, supportive relationships often live longer, report fewer health issues, and even experience sharper cognitive function compared to those who remain isolated. Love, it turns out, isn't just a feeling, it's medicine for the heart, mind, and body. Think about the quiet epidemic of loneliness among older adults. Studies show that chronic loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking or obesity. Yet, when seniors open themselves to companionship, whether through friendship, dating, or remarriage, the impact is striking. Blood pressure lowers, stress hormones decrease, and a sense of vitality returns. Love brings back laughter, and laughter itself has been proven to boost immune function and support overall well-being. For Elowen, this truth became deeply personal. When she allowed herself to rediscover touch, the simple act of holding someone's hand at the park, sharing inside jokes at dinner, or feeling the warmth of a hug, her world opened up. The heaviness she carried after her husband's passing began to lift. She noticed she smiled more, her energy returned, and even the mornings felt brighter. It wasn't just companionship she gained, it was a renewed sense of life itself. And this is what many seniors often underestimate. Intimacy at this stage isn't only about romance. It's about rewiring the brain to feel connected, valued, and alive. Neurologists have found that love and consistent social connection stimulate the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which not only deepens relationships but also reduces anxiety and supports memory. Yes, love can literally sharpen the mind. But here's the part that surprises even doctors. These benefits don't require grand gestures or youthful passion. They emerge in the little things. A shared laugh over morning coffee, a kiss on the forehead, or sitting together in comfortable silence. These small, steady acts of intimacy create ripples that improve not only emotional happiness but also physical and cognitive health. So when seniors wonder, why risk love again? The answer is clear. Because love at this stage doesn't just fill your heart, it helps extend your life. And yet, the most unexpected truth about intimacy after 60 is still to come. One that changes how we view passion entirely. When people hear the words sex after 60, many imagine decline, limitation, or even the end of physical intimacy. But that image is outdated and frankly untrue. The truth is that sex may look different in this stage of life, but it often becomes more meaningful, playful, and creative than ever before. Why? because the focus shifts from performance to presence, from insecurity to acceptance, and from routine to rediscovery. In our younger years, sex often carried pressure to impress, to perform, or to meet certain expectations shaped by movies and social norms. But after 60, the beauty is that those pressures fade. Instead of worrying about appearances or speed, intimacy becomes about slowing down, savoring touch, and finding joy in closeness. For many seniors, this makes physical connection not only possible but richer than ever before. Practical adjustments also play a big role. Seniors are finding new ways to stay close, whether it's through gentle intimacy like extended cuddling, massages, or simply lying together and talking. Emotional foreplay becomes just as important as physical touch, sharing a story, laughing together, or enjoying a slow dance in the living room. Redefining pleasure means realizing that intimacy doesn't have to look the same as it did decades ago to be deeply fulfilling. Elowen herself discovered this firsthand. When she began exploring intimacy again, she initially felt anxious, wondering if her body could still respond the way it once did. But what she found was liberating. Her partner valued closeness over performance, affection over perfection. They learned to laugh through awkward moments, to communicate openly, and to embrace creativity in how they connected. This freedom made intimacy feel not like a duty, but like play, something joyful and deeply bonding. And here's the surprising part. Studies show that many older adults who remain sexually active report higher levels of happiness, reduced stress, and even better sleep. It's not just about passion, it's about health, connection, and vitality. So let me ask you directly. Do you believe sex after 60 can actually be better than before? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your voice might inspire someone who still wonders if their best years of intimacy are behind them. The reality is this. Intimacy doesn't end with age. It evolves. And often, it becomes more authentic, tender, and satisfying than it ever was in youth. When most people think of intimacy, their minds go straight to the bedroom. But the truth is, some of the deepest, most enduring forms of connection happen outside of it. After 60, intimacy often blossoms in the everyday moments, the quiet gestures, the simple routines, the small acts of love that weave two lives together. Think about the power of holding hands. For younger couples, it may seem like a casual act, but for seniors, that gentle squeeze can speak volumes. It says, "I'm here. You matter. We're in this together." The warmth of a hand in yours can carry more reassurance than 1,000 words. These are the gestures that restore trust, reduce loneliness, and remind us that we're not walking life's path alone. Shared routines also carry a unique beauty. It could be making morning coffee together, folding laundry side by side, or taking evening walks through the neighborhood. These aren't chores, they're rituals. Over time, they become intimate threads that tie two people closer, turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. For Elowen, one of her favorite discoveries was dancing in the kitchen with her partner. With no audience and no rush, they laughed at their clumsy steps, moving to music only they could hear. It wasn't about perfection. It was about joy, and that joy was intimacy in its purest form. Late-night talks, too, take on a new significance. At this stage of life, you don't need to fill every silence with noise. Instead, there's comfort in sitting together, reminiscing about the past or dreaming about the future, even if that future looks different than it once did. Those quiet conversations in the glow of a lamp or under the stars often become the moments that feel most intimate, because they remind you that being truly seen and heard is the foundation of lasting love. And here's the emotional truth. This chapter of love isn't about youth. It's about presence. It's about being fully in the moment, listening deeply, touching gently, and appreciating the gift of companionship. For many seniors, these daily acts of closeness become more meaningful than any grand romantic gesture. So if you've ever felt that intimacy is slipping away, remember, it might not be gone at all. It may simply be waiting to be redefined. And sometimes, the greatest intimacy lies not in what happens in the bedroom, but in how two hearts connect in the simple rhythms of everyday life. Elowen's story began with hesitation, uncertainty, and the quiet fear that her best days of love and intimacy were behind her. Like so many others in their 60s and beyond, she once believed that romance belonged to the younger chapters of life. Yet, through her courage to take a step forward, she discovered something entirely different. She wasn't too old for love. She was finally ready for the most powerful version of it. What changed wasn't Elowen's appearance, her health, or even her circumstances. What changed was her perspective. She realized that love after 60 isn't about competing with the passion of youth. It's about embracing the freedom and wisdom that comes with age. She no longer felt the need to impress or pretend. She could be fully herself. Gray hair, laugh lines, tender heart and all. And in that authenticity, she found a love that was deeper, steadier, and more fulfilling than she ever imagined. For Elowen, intimacy no longer felt like a performance. It felt like presence. Holding hands while walking through the park, sharing laughter over burnt toast in the morning, exchanging soft kisses before bed. These moments carried a richness that went beyond anything she had known in earlier decades. She realized that love doesn't fade with age. It matures, deepens, and becomes the love you've been waiting for. This is the transformation so many seniors overlook. The later years of life are not the closing credits of romance. They are the hidden chapter, the one that brings together everything you've learned about patience, kindness, humor, and resilience. And if you allow yourself to embrace it, you may find that this chapter is the most rewarding of all. So here's the takeaway. You are not too old for love. You are at the perfect age to experience it more fully, more honestly, and more meaningfully than ever before. Love after 60 is not a second chance. It is a new beginning. If Elowen's journey resonated with you, let this be your reminder that it's never too late to open your heart again. Whether that means reaching out to someone new, rekindling intimacy in a long-standing marriage, or simply allowing yourself to believe in love again, take that step. Because the love waiting for you now isn't just about passion. It's about presence, joy, and companionship that lasts. And before you go, ask yourself this. Who in your life needs to hear this message today? Share this video with them because you never know whose hope you might reignite. And if you found value here, hit that like button, drop a comment with your own story, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys of love and connection after 60. Your story isn't over. In fact, it may be just beginning. Before we close, I want to speak directly to you. If this message spoke to your heart, if Elowen's journey reminded you that love, intimacy, and connection don't end after 60, then don't let the inspiration stop here. Love is too important, too healing, and too life-giving to keep quiet about. Someone you know, maybe a friend, a sibling, or even a neighbor, is quietly wondering if they're too old, too late, or too past their prime for love. And your simple act of sharing this video might be the encouragement they need to believe again. So here's my invitation, if this touched you like this video. Not just as a click, but as a way of saying, yes, I believe in love at every age. Every like helps push this message out to more seniors who may be struggling in silence, wondering if intimacy is still possible for them. And don't stop there. Share this video with someone who needs hope. Maybe it's a widowed friend who's been afraid to start over. Maybe it's a long-time couple who feels like the spark has dimmed. Or maybe it's you sending this as a reminder to yourself that your story is still unfolding. Sharing isn't just about spreading content, it's about spreading possibility. Finally, subscribe to this channel, Senior Relationships After 60. Because this isn't just one story. This is a community. A place where we celebrate the beauty of connection in later life, where we break the myths about aging, and where we uncover fresh ways to keep intimacy alive, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Every week, you'll hear new insights, new stories, and new reminders that love doesn't fade. It transforms. And being part of this community means you'll never have to walk that journey alone. So take a moment right now, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and hit that subscribe button. Together, we can create a ripple effect of hope, reminding seniors everywhere that love after 60 isn't over. It's just beginning. Your click could change someone's day. Your share could change someone's future. And your subscription, that's your way of saying, I'm ready for this new chapter too.